Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Own Your Lane live stream show. I'm your host, Michelle B Griffin, and I'm thrilled to kick off the new year with one of my favorite people on the favorite platforms about how to create and grow your personal brand on LinkedIn. So I'm thrilled to welcome back to the show for the second time founder of AuthoredUp, Ivana Tarunik. Now, I probably just really butchered the last name, the pronunciation. Please share that right and welcome to the show.
Yeah, no worries, Michelle. Like, first of all, thank you so much for having me again. And I'm really looking forward, and I'm super excited to share stuff that changed in the past year and a half. And yeah, my surname is Todorovic. It's a
Okay.
Serbian surname, so I
Yes.
don't expect you to pronounce it correctly. Ivana is totally okay.
That's good. Now, I should have practiced more. I usually try to. But anyway, regardless, we are so excited you're here because about a little over a year ago, you were on the show and it's one of my top downloaded episodes on the podcast. But then you and I were, chatting last fall and you're like, Michelle, I have new research is coming out. And you just told me before we went live, anytime, probably in the last, 3 months, you were able to capture new research and new data. So I want to drive and get right into it because there's a lot of people who are really ready to get out there, get visible, build and boost their personal brand. But before we do, I want to set the record straight because I had a lot of people go, Michelle, AuthoredUp is amazing. And I use it too. And a few people said, Michelle, I want to use AuthoredUp, but I'm a little concerned. So, is there any safety issues? Because
Yeah.
there's some tech issues out there with other platforms. So, can you set us straight?
Yeah. So basically, AuthoredUp is, I cannot say the only tool, but it is that we know the only tool that is not doing any kind of automation on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So what does it mean? It means that we are not impersonating you in front of LinkedIn. So, for example, you have tools where you can log in and you can get, let's say, last 100 comments, or you can get last 10 people that reacted to your post. So how to do it? The only way is basically we need to take your cookie, and your cookie is your username and your password. It is basically the
Mhm.
same. So it's the same as logging in to your LinkedIn profile and saying to LinkedIn, please give me this last 100 comments, this last 10 people, give me profiles, give me send DMs, etc. So in order to avoid any kind of automation, we never touch your cookie.
Okay, great.
And that is why AutoredUp is a bit complex. You need to do some stuff that is manual. You need to, for example, scroll through your posts. You cannot get automatic updates. We cannot give you information, for example, your post was growing every minute like this. You got one like every X seconds, etc. What we can do, we can basically read your feed the
Hmm.
same way as you're reading. So it's a layer on top of Chrome, not on top of LinkedIn. So, and then whatever is shown in the Chrome, then it is also shown in the Outer App. We are basically mirroring that data. And that is
Okay.
how Outer App works.
Okay, well, we're safe then. And that's what I told everyone, but I needed you to explain it better for me. I've used AuthoredUp ever since it came out about 2 years ago. And I think, you've evolved, everything evolves, but you're basically, the category of like a content creation and an analytics tool for creators on LinkedIn. Is that how you, high level describe what you do?
Yeah, so we are basically what is basically the tool for regular people
Okay.
from the moment of your idea of the LinkedIn post to understanding what works for you.
Okay.
And basically we are trying to get the whole funnel, the whole flow for you. If ideal you are, like when we say regular, we are not targeting LinkedIn influencers. We are
Okay.
targeting people like ourselves that are
Yes.
not any kind of the influencers but just want to get some personal branding developed on LinkedIn.
No, I love that positioning because there's a lot of, tech that goes after influencers, but we want you and I, especially with my work with personal branding, to help more people be seen, recognized, and share their unique brilliance out there. So, like I said, I've used Authored Up. This isn't like a, partnership where I'm trying to get more people. I'm just truly inviting you because you have an amazing product. But most importantly, your company page and you yourself share so much insight. You drop so many gems. So I definitely right now just want to say give a follow your company page and you, but let's jump right into it. There's a lot of new research and data. So let's talk about it and we'll talk about how to position yourself with the work I do and you do, and we'll help people get on their way. So let's get into it. What's the big change? What do you see?
Yeah. So first of all, what we see, because we were doing research every couple of months. Right now, we have a dynamic intelligence tool that we built internally, so we can do it daily. Obviously, it's hard to report daily, but what we see is basically that the last 2 months, what is basically also expected, is
Hmm.
that the impressions plateaued, that they are even down. We are talking about average and median numbers. So for example, if you were getting in September 1,000 impressions per post, in December you are good if you are between 650 and
Wow.
700. So there are two reasons. First is that most of the people are taking time off LinkedIn,
Yeah.
so they are not there. But we believe that even more important is that those that are on LinkedIn, I mean, like that go to the feed and scroll, they are not engaging enough, and they
Mm.
won't post 10 comments. They will post maybe two. They won't react. They are there just to get some news, to understand what is going on, and they spend less time in the feed, even though they open LinkedIn a couple of times a day. So
Okay.
impressions from that standpoint for all content types and for 98% of people are down.
Okay.
And we believe, so I need to go right immediately into the future, that that also happened like last year, but it wasn't
Yes.
that much. And year before as well, but still the numbers were higher and people were not that scared. Right now
Yeah.
it's like you are getting less and less, and right now
Yes.
and then you're dropping like uh basically the we believe that this is ending right now. We already see, as I said, like we have also daily numbers, that it's going starting to go up, and
Great.
that from February that it should get to the stages where it were like a few months ago. So
Okay, not a few
that's our
years ago.
expectations. No,
Not
no, no, no,
like
no, no, no.
this is the heyday, the gold rush is over. But I tell everyone, listen, it doesn't matter the I mean, yes, it's a fact that our reach is down, but I consider your profile and even your company page like a personal brand website. It's your launching pad to building connections, relationships, and getting media attention, speaking. So it's not say, oh, I'm done with LinkedIn. No, it is the place to be. Have you seen that LinkedIn's new ad campaign on Instagram? It's LinkedIn is a place to be to be, or I don't know, it has a little thing. It's where business conversations happen. It's the only social media site, community networking place that like it's of its kind. And so we want to find the best way to be there. Okay, so impressions are down. Good news, you see them kind of coming up. What
Yes.
else do you see that we should know about?
We also see the changes in the content types that are pushed
Okay.
on LinkedIn. Right now, I'm talking about the whole 2024. So, as you know, LinkedIn launched a new feature that is related to video content that is
Hmm.
primarily on the mobile app, where, well, we call it TikTokish type of the feature. And we see that that feature, like that content type, that video, is pushed a lot. And
Yes.
how we identify that, first of all, before, like, it was available only in the US and in a few other countries, and when people in the US are awake you get literally like times 3, 4, 5 impressions that you already got in other regions.
Hmm.
So it's really pushed. However, engagement is very low. So you can see
Really?
that, yeah, engagement rate. So imagine that your typical engagement rate is 1 or 2%,
Hmm.
and that for all posts. But then when you post that kind of a video and it's pushed in the video feed, your engagement rate goes to zero point 0.1 or zero point 0.0 something. So people
Wow.
are not engaging that, that much. Obviously, they are watching.
Hmm.
So that is something. And on the other side, we also see repetitiveness,
Hmm.
because content creators, like, yes, we have influencers and
Yes.
they are not only okay, but they prefer video. It's also super easy if you're already creating it for some other platforms like YouTube or TikTok, just to push it to LinkedIn.
Hmm.
However, as we say, regular people, like regular business people who are there for B2B, for making conversations, meeting people, they are not really willing to make that type of
Yes.
content.
Agree.
So that is also what we see that again, even though LinkedIn is saying we don't want the influencers, that specific feature is
It's for
pushing
them.
so much. It's
Yeah.
for them because others are not willing to participate. If you
Yeah.
do, like you will be there as well. But are you okay with posting that kind of a content? We are not sure.
No, not if you're not posting. It's hard to go from on the sidelines to putting a video up. That's a big ask. And most people don't have the time or inclination. And I get that. Everyone's different. So we know the feeds there and all that. So that's super interesting. So what other content formats should someone go into if they want to just start getting on LinkedIn this year with their personal brand?
Like at it has to be tested. Like I can
Okay.
say, so yes, video in especially that kind of a format is going great. Not sure that is the best. If we are talking also about the engagement, like what are your expectations from the
Mhm.
content type? So what content type is, for example, let's say yes, for impressions, you can also get a lot of impressions with polls. You can also, when we are talking about the topics, if you're talking about your personal life and some
Mhm.
struggles, you're going to get
Yeah,
impressions. But is that
exactly.
something that is going to convert into any kind of a conversation? So, what converts, like what gets people from the post to your profile, is basically how I content, it still
Yes.
works. Anything that is related to your experience,
Yes.
business experience, struggles. So
Mhm.
that is something that even though you won't get impressions, if it is written good, it doesn't need to be great. But
Mhm.
if it is not ChatGPT, because ChatGPT, AI, any kind of
Yes.
like people can identify that it's super easy.
Yes.
Right now, we all know the phrases, we know how that content works. So if it is really good content, if it is your content, it can be any kind. Even text posts work. Like text posts with 2,000 characters. Everyone was
Mhm.
saying don't post something like that. But if you know how to write it,
Yeah.
and if you have a good message and you share something that is valuable, like you are gonna get a lot of people getting to your profile, sending you DMs, responding.
So humanizing the brand, the how I, which I like to say the how I, how we, how I see it versus the how to, because now with Chat
How to
GPT,
doesn't work. Yeah.
it
How
doesn't
to
work.
please avoid.
It's
Yes.
yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
it's a commodity now. When I posted when I did my challenge in 2021 to post every single day in 2021 before Chat GPT, how to was great, but I mean, you could sprinkle in a little bit, but don't lead with that. If you can Google or Chat GPT it, it's not going to be remarkable content. So I absolutely love that. What's your thought on not selfies, like saying a selfie all the time, but a visual with the text post? What's your take on that?
Yeah, so if we are talking about the visuals, again,
Mhm.
if there is your face, those kind of visuals perform better than if there is nothing, like if it is like a random picture.
Okay.
So the question is, what exactly are you trying to present with that? What works, for example, is if you write something by your hand, or if you have some graph, or like that, you don't need to have a face. If you have, or a table, like literally screenshot from your Excel that shows something. So it is about additional value that people will stop because of it.
Okay.
So that is something. And on the other side, yes, if you are on event, obviously it
Yes.
has to be with your face, with other people. Please don't tag 100 people when you go to the event, but like yes, even if you can tag a few. So not here is selfie from, I don't know, from Thailand, but
Yeah.
here is me working on something or with some people, or even the image that crops like and puts a few other stuff and your face. That totally works.
I love those events posts because we can't go to all the all these industry conferences, whatever industry you're in. So I absolutely love seeing pictures of you or someone speaking, maybe a few people tagged and, just like, here's something I learned, or you're not going to believe this or that, just something. It's almost like kind of not a FOMO, but it's like I can join in on what I get a feel for it. So I absolutely love those. It's an easy way to start, getting yourself out there with a post. So that's good. Let's talk about carousels real quick. They had their heyday. They've been up and down. One thing I do notice is they are remarkably decked out now. Forget the simple little Canva one that I used to do
Yeah.
in 2020, 21. Now they are like works of art. What's your take on carousels or PDFs, carousel, whatever you call them, sliders?
Yeah, but we call them carousel still.
Okay.
So internally, but uh, they when we say they work, I mean like they are when you're talking about the performance, and we are
Okay.
comparing typical impressions for text post versus impressions for carousel. Carousels are still getting more impressions on average, so
Okay.
20-30% more. However, the question is how much time and energy you invested to create a carousel. So, and whether you can create 3 or 4 great text plus image posts
Hmm.
than one carousel. So, you really, if you are doing carousel, then you really, as you said, like top 5 things that I don't know, like top 5 books that I read this summer
Hmm.
is not something that is gonna perform.
Okay.
Everyone are doing that. It's super easy to copy. Again, you have tools, even AI tools. Click, you get the whole
Yeah.
carousel with your colors, logo, etc. But if you want to show a process, a flow,
Yes.
something that is hard to present in the text post, then carousel is a content type to go. So when we are talking about the content type optimization, is more about what you want to say and then what is the best way to communicate what you want to say rather than post 2 carousels and one
Yeah.
video and one text post and one of these and 5 polls and whatever.
No, that's a
So
good way. Focus on the message, and we're gonna get to how to position yourself before we leave, but, this is all great, great tips on, that research backed, data backed, and I know you're constantly doing that, so thank you so much for sharing it. Is there anything that you would I know you don't like to say, "Don't do this, don't do that," and neither do I because everyone's different, but what is the one thing that you really are, wishing or hoping that people will take into consideration or you nudge them along to do for the coming year to really get out there in a bigger way and use LinkedIn as their launching pad.
yeah, so I think that we still all or most of the people struggle with what are my expectations and what results I expect to get in the next 1 month, 3 months, or whatever. So one thing that I truly believe doesn't work anymore is any kind of getting 10 templates for posts,
Yeah.
but not frameworks. Frameworks are okay, first say like question something, then position yourself. Like those frameworks are pretty vague and they just help you to communicate your idea. But
Mhm.
like templates where you have a square brackets and you just need to type a word.
Yes.
So that kind of and a lot of people were selling that for
Yes.
hundreds of dollars. So that's something that I really avoid. Then I
Okay.
really believe that it is better to try. I know it's hard, but to try to learn to get your style rather than mirror someone else's style.
Yes.
So, LinkedIn has thousands of Justin
Yes.
Welshes, right? So, trying to do that is not something that is gonna move. And I think that the third is like having like big eyes on different types of topics. So, let's say you are a consultant for this, but you see that specific topic is right now or industry,
Mhm.
and then you're writing about that. Like, and then after a month, like if you maybe remember year and a half ago, everyone were sharing GPT stuff.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
remember,
Ad
like
nauseam.
yeah,
Yes.
it was insane. So you always have something that seems like a quick win. I
Yes.
just post 3 of these and I'm gonna get thousands of followers and then I'm gonna sell something to them. It's really, really hard to find your voice and
Yes.
literally try not to be perfect. Like make a mistake, like
Yes.
I'm not
Humanize us.
native English speaker, like coming from a small country, and I need to say to myself, it is okay to make mistakes on this in this conversation and on this call, and you cannot make it perfect, but it is you. So that is something, and it's really hard because you already have experience. You have X years of working in some companies. Your colleagues are there, maybe some of your families, people that you need to coach or consult. So it's really hard to say it's okay to make mistakes.
No,
But
I love that. We
that
need the
is in the
humanization
yeah,
in the age of AI. So those are 3 great tips, and one tip I'd love to pass along because I know what it's like to have writer's block, like a lot of ideas, but it's so hard to get on paper. And when I'm writing my books now with my, new one, Position Yourself, coming out later
yeah.
in the month,
I
and
have
then, of course, the
yes.
LinkedIn branding
Branding
books,
book,
and we're
yes.
working on a second edition on that one, so a little
Yeah,
tease on
waiting
that.
for
That's
that
like
one.
yes. Go ahead and do an audio. I call it audio writing, and I wanna give a shout out to, I use, like, Otter.ai and then Audio Pen, where I actually wrote my latest book. I'll just go on walks and just blurt out what I know or, outline it, and that just gives your human voice, your actual voice, and then, you can go, edit it from there or whatever, but that takes the burden out. It gives you a starting point. So, like you just said, have your voice, don't emulate others, don't chase this shiny object, stay in your narrow lane and what you want to be known for so that you become top of mind. And then another thing, when you do that, people start seeing you, you become the go to, and you find yourself less and less looking off the side and comparing yourself, sometimes falling off track and,
Yes.
spiraling downward. So, I think that's a strong point for the coming year and beyond. So thank you for sharing. So before we get into, I know we have just right under 10 minutes. I want to talk about commenting because I know there's a lot of people who don't have the time or eventually want to post, but I always say show up to the daily water cooler or the cafeteria proverbially and just comment, have a conversation. Let's talk about comments, what you're seeing, what you recommend. There's a lot of AI comments out there, which are very cringy. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so commenting, like, first of all, like, why we are doing that? Because that is the other way to get people to know you.
Yes.
So especially when you are just starting, and also you probably don't feel comfortable with posting, it is a good starting point to put something to LinkedIn. You can comment something. So AI comments are obviously all over the place.
Mhm.
Tools are almost free, and it is really hard. Not only for, like, you may try that strategy. Like, obviously, we are totally against it, but it's hard also when you are getting a lot of that kind of comments, like AI
Mhm.
or any kind of problematic comments. Call it like that. So when it comes to commenting, I would say try to be as consistent as possible. So sometimes, yes, you don't have time for 10 comments, but you ideally will post one or two or three comments. It
Okay.
doesn't have to be genius, it can literally be what you think about the topic.
Mhm.
And it can be one or two sentences.
Okay.
Sometimes, if you really, really want to add to the post, like to be there, to be the first, then you need to spend more time commenting.
Okay.
And we see that it seems so, not 100% statistically proven, but it seems that you need at least 14 words. We don't know
Okay.
why 14
Okay.
without mention. So to seem like a relevant commenter
Okay.
in the post. So you will write, it is better to write 3 sentences to one post than to write
Great
the
post on 20 of them. Yeah, because that
yes.
also looks like engagement pods or,
Yeah.
spam or something. So, yeah, if you're gonna take the time, quality over quantity, just getting out in the content
And one more
comment
one
room.
more moment, one
Yeah,
more element. So what we see, because obviously we are working with like millions of posts and like a huge database, but we see that comments with images, because you can add an attachment.
that's right.
Nobody's doing that, but LinkedIn pushes that so much.
Ah, good
So
tip.
if you can, ideally you will do it. Then what also pushes, like, even if it is under your post, but even if you
Uh-huh.
want to help someone or you just want to be there, to be honest, like to get some kind of awareness, is to post multiple comments under one post, but not like spamming someone.
Not spam,
But
yeah.
but if someone is starting a conversation, then you can comment your and asking something, well, the person that posted, you can comment or ask. It's also okay to ask. You don't need to be smart all the time.
I like
So
that.
to do something like that. And the
Okay.
third thing is about indirect comments. And that's
Okay.
not only that works, but it's really like a magic. So getting indirect comments, those are the comments that are responses to the main comment that is
Okay.
written. So that is something that works and can boost your post
Okay.
2.4
That
times.
those are great tips because comments are content when you're really just starting out. So, two more things because I want to close on how we're going to position ourselves with all the stuff we gained today as a recap. But since we wrote the LinkedIn branding book and it is the power of two, your personal and business brand to really grow. You mentioned before we went live, you have a little bit of data or some insights on company pages. Can you
Oh,
share that with us today?
yes. Yeah, it's really it's a combination of company pages, employee advocacy,
Okay.
but also company pages itself. So first of all, it seems that obviously company pages are getting much less space in the feed. It's
Mhm.
really hard to get you cannot get viral. All like it's so hard. Maybe HubSpot can get viral with their one company page post per year. So don't try something like that. However, uh, LinkedIn still has some space for company pages in
Okay.
the feed, and the issue is, we believe, more in the quality of content of company pages rather than algorithm. Obviously, algorithm says whatever you are getting, company pages is getting 20-30% if you are, like if you are pretty good with it. However, for let's say B2B brands, it's okay to get 2, 3, 400,000 impressions, but relevant people that are following your company page or will follow, and you have like B2B group. So we see that posting, like we are also testing that with AuthoredUp for quite some time, and we formed like in our analysis a group of we also put ourselves there, like company pages that are posting good content that is
Okay.
engaging, that is interesting for the relevant audience, and they are getting real results in number of followers. We also see, and we talk to some of them, they are getting deals directly from there. People are
Nice.
mentioning company pages
Good.
are in the comments, and they are becoming a new entity. But that is something that is relatively expensive. uh, I mean, it takes a lot of time if you have your personal brand and you also want company page. If you are
Yes.
just one person, you don't need to do it.
Okay.
However, for companies that have,
The
let's say,
resources
10
and the team.
plus employees
Yeah.
team, if someone from the team is also posting, it's really good way at least to test and to see what will happen if you really invest in the content you are posting. So not
Okay.
resharing, reposting, you know, we are great, amazing, look at our new employee. Not that kind of a content, but like real content. If you try,
Industry insights and stuff
yes,
that no one else would know about, but comes from their
exactly.
company. Okay.
And you
That's
have
good to know.
data. Yeah,
Okay.
please,
And
like
you
you
have
have
data, data, data,
yes.
absolute data. Company pages and data are perfect. And that really helps. That's the insights. That's what LinkedIn dubs as insights, which I know they give preference to. So this is all so jam-packed. Ivana, thank you so much. So as we wrap up today, we've talked about this was going to be such a drop of gems and gold of, all this data, insights, from formatting to comments to company pages, things you're thinking and seeing. So to really position yourself, if you're on, quote, regular person on LinkedIn, maybe not so much on there now, but really want to be, let's position yourself. So I would definitely say, and let's chime in on this. For me and the work I do, let's get a clear vision of what you want and who you're for. Like, here is who we are for. You can't be for everyone, just be team someone. The problem you kind of talk about, you solve, you support, educate. So people anchor in the mind that you're the go to. Really working on your differentiation because there's thousands of people who do what you do. So get clear on that. And then we're going to take it to your, to your presence on LinkedIn. Make sure that profile is absolutely optimized and it just matches everything we're talking about here, right? The profile is I'm open for business, but you can't just stay still. You got to go out and get some presence. So getting out there, just like you said, with all these tips, what would you recommend? Take it from here. So you got the profile rocked out. Where do they start? What's the baby steps they can start to get their presence and participation on LinkedIn?
F- First is obviously before profile, you need to know what you really want and what
Yes.
you can expect. Like you won't close a deal, 100K deal from the LinkedIn post itself ever or profile.
No.
Please. So then, as you said, profile, that's a must.
Yes.
And then the baby steps are, I would say, try to comment, try to find 5 people that you like. They don't need to be like, and have a similar audience to you.
Okay.
So try to find them and try to comment like a few times per day. That is really a baby step. And put
Mhm.
yourself maybe not 10 comments per day, but let's say 20 comments a week. So can you
Okay.
do it? Probably you
Yes.
can. So
Yes.
try to do it like that and try to see LinkedIn differently rather than scrolling. You can count the time that you are spending on LinkedIn. You scroll probably for 10 minutes. In these 10 minutes, you would probably write 5 or 10 comments. So
Mhm.
please try to change the way how you see LinkedIn as a platform. Start by that. And then from these comments, you will get reactions. You will get new
Yes.
ideas. Move them to your post. Like you have probably something additional to say, or you just
Yes.
want to say that in a more natural way to your audience, and that is your idea because you will feel comfortable when you already said that you saw that people are engaging. That is something that you can go and post. So that those are the baby steps, I would say.
I like that. So really be strategic on not just scrolling. And I'll be honest, because we're just humans and these smartphones are wired to make us kind of addicted to the scroll. I find myself doing that on Instagram. Be intentional. So maybe go find the people, be intentional. Here's what I want. Here's maybe the 5 people I'm going to start with. And then maybe go there first instead of going haphazardly. Because if you scroll, you don't know who's going to show up. I mean, sometimes you might if you've been on a post, but it's random. So we don't want to be random users on LinkedIn, especially if time is of essence for a lot of us and we're just getting our feet wet here. So give yourself some time to get your 5 people and then it just builds from there. It just does, right? It's just the magic and the beauty. And you start getting ideas, you start meeting people and your familiarity and your confidence and your courage to maybe start posting, it all grows. And definitely check out AuthoredUp because you guys have so many amazing. I have sent so many people your tool on how to write a really good about section. Do you guys you still have that on your website, right?
Yeah,
That about
it's a
section, that
yes, yes.
that is
It's a
tremendous.
free tool. Like you don't even like log in. We are not asking email. Like just go there and type your about section. It will be helpful. I can assure you.
I'm going to put a link in the comments and then when it goes on the podcast, because that is such a help for people because so many people have about sections that really could be beefed up. It's not a resume recruiter and really tell your story because on the profile, we want the picture, the banner, your bio. So the first 45-ish
Yeah.
characters kind of gives us an anchor on who you are, your industry or something, and then some other keywords. And then I always go to the about section. When I go to a website, same thing on your profile. I want to get to know the person a little bit more. So use that to your advantage. And then as you get, down the road, we can optimize for like a featured section. We can get in the weeds too much. We're talking about just the beginners here. But this has been tremendous, Ivana. Tell us where we can find you, how we can learn more about Authored Up, and then we'll take it from there.
You can always find me on LinkedIn, obviously. And if you have any questions, just drop me a DM. I like to respond even to random
Okay.
DMs because we are getting a lot of ideas when we see the
Yes.
question. We are like, okay, so this probably should be addressed not only in the tool, but maybe in our content. Maybe there is something additional that we can say from our data. So that Outered company page, Outered website. So we are natively on this platform and we love this platform. So you can find us here basically almost 24/7. I won't say 24/7, but we'll try to be there for you.
I love that. And go follow the Authored Up page. And I believe coming up in March, you have a report coming out with Richard. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it will be a huge one. Yes. We're
Yes.
already in preparation. What I shared right now is the first part. I would say something that we investigated already just to get the scope.
Okay.
And then we are moving to much more complex things for the end of March.
What is the official name of that report now? I know it went on a little bit of a rebrand in the last year and a half or so. What is it? What do you
I
call it
think
again?
So, like, you know how we call it internally, algo report.
Okay.
But yeah, but what is official marketing name? Call it like that. Like, I'm not sure. Like, you need to ask Richard. He's the guy who is preparing everything, and basically, we
Okay.
are one of the providers of the insights from our
Yeah, because
site.
last year, you guys, when you announced it, it was huge. It was all over LinkedIn and everyone was referencing that. So I know we all thank you in advance for all the insights, the data that you so graciously share with everyone. One last tip to wish people well and get them on their way out there, PYOT, put yourself out there on LinkedIn. What's that one thing you would say to them, Ivana?
When you think that it is time to stop, please don't stop, but keep
Yes,
going.
absolutely. Well, this has been tremendous. Thank you again, and we appreciate it. We will be looking for all those insights. And again, if you have any questions, just reach out to Ivana and AuthoredUp and go give them all a follow. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me here live today or on the replay on YouTube and on the podcast platforms. We wish you all the best this year. Go put yourself out there. You have a brand to build, a message to share, and people to impact. So I'll catch you next time. Take care, everyone. Thanks again, Ivana.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
Michelle. Thank you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.